Have you ever sensed something shift inside you, so suddenly, so quietly, that you couldn't explain it, yet couldn't ignore it? Perhaps you're the divine feminine, wondering if he feels what you feel. Or maybe you're the divine masculine, haunted by a presence that isn't physically there, yet won't leave your soul alone. You're not imagining this. You're not lost. But you are being called by something sacred, something eternal. The question is, how do you recognize it? In today's video, Spiritual Universe guides you deep into the heart of a mystery many feel, but few can name: the silent awakening of the divine masculine. We'll explore the invisible moment when he stops, not because he understands, but because he remembers. You'll discover the 6 subtle yet powerful signs that reveal when the masculine begins to feel her presence, not through logic, but through soul memory. These signs are not surface level. They are energetic, emotional, cosmic. They are the language of the soul calling itself home. You won't just watch, you'll remember. You'll see your journey mirrored in his silence, in his pause, in his pull towards something he doesn't fully grasp, but deeply knows. Whether you are the one awakening or the one being felt, this message will give you clarity, peace, and confirmation. It will help you stop questioning your path and start trusting the divine design. Because love like this isn't taught, it's remembered. Sign 1. Her energy feels like home, even in chaos. There is something profoundly unexplainable that happens when the divine masculine encounters his divine feminine, not in loud declarations or overwhelming intensity, but in the gentle, sacred silence of recognition. It's not a cinematic moment filled with sparks and dramatic music. It's quieter, deeper, more real. Amidst the noise of everyday life, rising pressure, emotional demands, confusion, and constant motion, her presence is like stepping into a different dimension. He doesn't even need to understand why, but when she enters the space, everything within him shifts. She doesn't need to say a word. Her energy speaks the language of his soul. In her presence, the storm inside him settles, not because she fixes or changes anything around him, but because her energy harmonizes with his. There's no pretense, no performance, no effort to win approval. Simply by being near her, he begins to feel more like himself, his truest, most authentic self, the one he often forgets in the chaos of the world. It's not the comfort of routine or safety that she brings, it's something deeper. It's the sense of coming home, not to a place, but to a frequency, a soul signature he has known long before this life. With her, his heart beats differently. His breath slows. His thoughts lose their sharp edges. The tension he carries every day begins to melt, not because his problems disappear, but because she awakens the part of him that remembers how to stay centered through it all. She doesn't numb his reality. She strengthens his spirit to walk through it with grace. Her energy doesn't pull him away from life. It anchors him more deeply into it, teaching him that peace isn't the absence of storms, but the calm within them. This feeling doesn't fade. It doesn't pass like infatuation. It lingers. It stays with him long after she's gone, like the memory of a sacred dream, one he may not be able to explain, but one he carries in his bones. Something in him knows. This isn't just chemistry. It's not mere affection. It's resonance. It's a match of frequencies, a soul-level alignment that can't be faked or found anywhere else. Once he's felt this kind of peace, this kind of home, he knows there's no comparison. Nothing else will ever truly feel right again. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to pause and reflect. Have you ever felt this kind of soul-deep calm in someone's presence, even when everything around you was falling apart? That feeling of being home without a map, of being seen without having to explain yourself, is not just rare, it's sacred. We'd love to hear your experiences. Share your thoughts in the comments below, or simply affirm this truth by typing, "Her energy felt like home, even in my chaos." And if this touched your heart, don't forget to like this video to help spread this message to others on the same journey. Your energy matters here. Let's move on to the next sign together. Sign 2. He begins to heal without even knowing. Some of the deepest wounds aren't healed through words. They're healed through presence, through energy that feels safe enough to allow what's been buried to rise. He didn't come looking for healing. He wasn't on some grand mission to mend his past or confront his emotional scars. In fact, he thought he had tucked them away for good, buried under logic, distractions, or years of pretending they didn't matter. Yet, the moment she enters his life, something subtle but powerful begins to shift. It's not dramatic, it's not loud. It starts as a quiet discomfort, the kind that stirs emotions he thought were long gone. Grief he didn't know he still carried. Guilt he never gave himself permission to process. Out of nowhere, emotions begin to surface like echoes from another time. He doesn't know why, but he starts feeling again. Not just thinking, feeling. He notices the tension in his chest, the tightness in his throat, the restlessness in his spirit. It's not because she brings pain, but because her energy gently disarms his emotional defenses. She doesn't come with answers or advice. She doesn't try to fix him or point out his broken pieces. Instead, she offers presence, pure, grounded, non-judgmental space. And in that sacred space, his soul starts to breathe. For the first time in a long time, he feels safe enough to simply be. Not to perform, impress, or hide, but to exist, honestly and vulnerably. Her gaze doesn't just see his exterior, it meets him at the level of his essence. And in that reflection, something within him stirs with Ramesses. He begins to notice patterns fading, old habits of running, shutting down, or sabotaging himself. The fear that used to dictate his decisions begins to lose its power. The walls he built to protect himself start to soften, and he doesn't even realize it's happening. That's the beauty of it. Healing doesn't arrive with a label or a roadmap. It happens in quiet moments, in her presence, in her silence, in the energy she brings. Through her, he begins to realize that healing is not about becoming someone new or repairing something broken. It's about returning to who he has always been, beneath the pain and protection. Her energy doesn't highlight his wounds, it reflects his wholeness. And in that mirror, he starts to remember what it feels like to be whole, not fixed, not perfect, just real, just enough, just free. Sign 3. Time feels irrelevant around her. When he's with her, something strange and sacred happens. Time begins to lose its grip. The ticking of the clock fades into the background. Minutes stretch like golden threads into what feels like entire lifetimes, while hours pass unnoticed like fleeting seconds. In her presence, the usual urgency of the world disappears. There's no rush, no pressure, no need to move forward or look back. Only the eternal now. And in that stillness, everything that truly matters is communicated. Not through words, but through energy, through unspoken understanding. Their shared silence is not empty. It's full of knowing, full of peace. There is no awkwardness between them. No need to fill the air with meaningless chatter. Just presence. Pure, steady, comforting. He begins to sense that what they share doesn't fit within the limitations of ordinary time. It doesn't follow the rules of beginnings and endings or the ticking of a schedule. It feels timeless, eternal. It's not just attraction, it's recognition, soul recognition. Something ancient in him remembers something eternal in her. Even after she leaves, her essence remains. Her voice still hums through the corridors of his mind. Her laughter repeats like a song he doesn't want to forget. Her gaze leaves an imprint, soft but unforgettable. He finds himself revisiting moments with her, not to analyze them, but because they echo something sacred, something that feels like home. And in the spaces where she's absent, the world seems to dull. The colors lose their vibrancy. The days grow longer. Time returns, but only to remind him that it never really existed when she was near. That's when he realizes he's not missing a person. He's missing a frequency, a vibration that once aligned perfectly with his soul. Being around her wasn't just connection, it was resonance. It wasn't just time spent, it was time suspended. Because time, in the presence of the divine feminine, isn't counted by minutes or hours. It's measured by depth, by presence, by the way her energy awakens something inside him he didn't know was asleep. And that's the secret. Her presence doesn't just change how he experiences the moment, it changes how he experiences himself in that moment. With her, he feels eternal, whole, known. And that's why time ceases to matter, because the soul doesn't measure love in hours. It measures it in recognition, in remembrance, in the echo of something that's always been. Sign 4. His soul feels pulled back, no matter the distance. Some connections dissolve in silence, others intensify. And with her, silence only makes the bond louder. Even when he walks away, physically, emotionally, or spiritually, something inside him remains tethered. He may convince himself he's moved on. He may fill his days with noise, distractions, or even new faces. But beneath it all, her energy still hums like background music he can't turn off. It's not desire pulling him back. It's not longing or even memory in the traditional sense. It's something far deeper, soul recognition. No matter how far he runs, he can't outrun the resonance of her presence. She lingers in unexpected ways. A familiar scent in a stranger's perfume, a lyric in a song he wasn't trying to hear, a dream so vivid it leaves his chest aching in the morning. These aren't random, they're echoes. Echoes of a connection that didn't begin in this lifetime and won't end in this one either. What he feels isn't nostalgia. It's not about missing her as a person. It's about missing a part of himself that only awakens in her presence. He may try to forget. He may try to replace what they had with something more convenient, more logical, or less intense. But nothing quite fits. Because she wasn't just a partner, she was the mirror. She didn't complete him, but she revealed him. She activated a part of his soul that had been dormant for lifetimes. And even when he convinces his mind to move forward, his spirit keeps looking back, not in pain, but in recognition. She doesn't live in his memories like a past lover. She exists in his energy field like a sacred imprint. Her frequency is etched into his being. He may not speak about it, he may not understand it, but in quiet moments, when the world slows down, her presence returns, not as a ghost, but as a pulse, a living rhythm that reminds him who he truly is and what they truly are. Because some love stories don't end with goodbye, they echo through eternity. And no matter the distance, his soul always finds its way back to hers. If you've made it this far, it's likely because something in these words stirred something in you. Maybe you felt that silent pull, that unexplainable connection that never fades, no matter the distance. You're not alone in this experience. Take a moment to reflect. Have you ever felt someone's energy long after they were gone? We'd love to hear your story. Share it in the comments below, or simply type Her energy still lives in me as your affirmation. Your voice might be the reminder someone else needs today. And if this message resonates, don't forget to like, share, and stay with us for the next sign. You won't want to miss what's coming. Sign 5. He's no longer satisfied with the superficial. After experiencing her presence, something irreversible shifts within him. The world he once knew, the thrill of casual encounters, the excitement of surface-level attention, no longer moves him the same way. He's tasted something rare. Not just intimacy, but soul-deep resonance. What she offered wasn't just affection, it was a mirror to his own truth. And once you've glimpsed that kind of connection, the superficial becomes hollow. He finds himself disinterested in small talk, disillusioned by performative love, and uninspired by relationships that ask for everything but offer nothing in return. It wasn't that she demanded transformation from him. She never gave ultimatums or forced growth. She simply was, raw, honest, rooted in her own light. And by standing in her truth, she unknowingly gave him permission to explore his own. Something about her presence awakened not just desire, but direction. With her, love wasn't a performance or a game. It was a sacred space, an energetic homecoming, the kind of connection that doesn't just stir the heart, but awakens the soul. Even when he tries to move on, to seek comfort in familiar distractions or new faces, something always feels incomplete. The laughter might be there, the chemistry might flicker, but the depth, the energetic grounding, never quite lands. Because she didn't just touch his body or mind, she activated a part of him that had long been asleep. She showed him what alignment feels like. And now, nothing less will do. It's not about comparison. It's about recognition. She reflected his most authentic self back to him, without judgment, without agenda. That reflection isn't easy to forget, because it wasn't an illusion. It was a glimpse of who he truly is. And once the soul has remembered its truth, it cannot return to pretending. He doesn't want endless options. He wants meaning. He doesn't crave the temporary high. He yearns for the eternal. Not because he's obsessed with her, but because through her, he remembered himself. And that kind of awakening rewrites everything. Imagine this. He's out with friends at a lively bar, laughter echoing, music pulsing, surrounded by people and easy conversations. A beautiful woman leans in, smiling, flirtatious, saying all the right things. A year ago, he might have been drawn in, eager to entertain the moment, to enjoy the thrill of connection without consequence. But tonight, something feels off. Not because she's lacking, but because he is no longer interested in playing roles that don't reflect his truth. As she talks, his mind drifts, not to someone, but to something deeper. A memory, a feeling, a stillness he once knew in the presence of a woman who never needed to prove anything. With her, silence was enough. Eyes told the story. The energy between them was quiet, but undeniable, like two souls that had spoken long before words existed. And in that moment, he realizes, it's not about attraction, it's about alignment. No amount of attention or excitement can replace the peace he felt in her presence. Because she didn't just make him feel wanted, she made him feel seen. And that kind of truth leaves a mark nothing superficial ever could. Sign 6. He begins to seek purpose, not just passion. There comes a moment in the divine masculine's journey when desire alone no longer satisfies. With her, the fire that once felt like mere passion now carries a deeper voice, a call that echoes through his very soul. What once was physical becomes spiritual. Her presence doesn't just ignite attraction, it awakens a yearning for meaning. In her company, he begins to feel a subtle shift, not outward, but inward. This isn't just chemistry anymore. It's a catalyst. He starts to feel stirred by questions he never dared to ask before. Why am I really here? What is my purpose? Am I living in alignment with my soul, or just surviving in the noise of the world? She doesn't need to lecture him or push him towards self-discovery. Her very being becomes the inspiration. Just by being herself, authentic, aligned, and free, she holds up a mirror to his own potential. He sees, perhaps for the first time, that life is not just about chasing success, validation, or fleeting pleasures. It's about contribution, growth, and embodying truth. The way she moves through life, with intention, with clarity, sparks something dormant in him. He begins to feel that success is not defined by accolades, but by integrity. Fulfillment no longer lies in accomplishments alone, but in serving something bigger than himself. Through her, he recognizes that love is not just about feeling good. It's about becoming good. It's about evolution, not just emotion. She awakens in him a sense of mission, one that has always been inside him, waiting to be remembered. He begins to walk differently, think differently. Not to impress her, but because she's reconnected him with the version of himself that was always meant to rise. In the presence of this sacred connection, his goals begin to transform. He no longer asks, "What do I want?" but "Who am I becoming? And how can I serve the world from that place?" She doesn't give him the answers, but she unlocks the questions that matter. She becomes the muse that inspires his soul, the mirror that reflects his truth, and the quiet whisper that reminds him he's capable of more. And in this transformation, he doesn't just fall in love with her, he reconnects with himself. Passion turns into purpose. Love becomes a path. And her light doesn't just illuminate his heart, it reveals the map to his destiny. Some awakenings don't erupt like thunder. They arrive as soft nudges, quiet inner stirrings that only the heart can recognize. The divine masculine's journey was never just about romantic longing. It was about remembrance, about peeling back the layers of programming, pride, and pain to rediscover the essence of who he truly is. She didn't arrive to fix him. She arrived as a divine mirror, reflecting the wholeness he had forgotten, the power he had abandoned, and the purpose he had buried beneath the noise. Through every moment of resistance, confusion, and silent revelation, he wasn't losing control, he was reclaiming himself. Each sign along this path wasn't meant to give him answers, but to awaken deeper questions. Questions that lead not to her, but through her, back to his soul. Because the flame she ignited wasn't a borrowed light. It was the spark he carried all along. Now, he stands at a sacred threshold. One path leads back to comfort and familiarity. The other calls him toward truth, expansion, and a love that doesn't demand, but transforms. This is where he chooses not to chase, but to rise, not to search, but to become. And if you've made it this far, if these words have echoed something ancient within you, know this: you were meant to hear them. This isn't just content. This is a remembering. So, we invite you now to anchor that remembrance. Leave a comment below with the words, "My soul remembers the truth," and share which sign resonated with your spirit the most. Your voice might be the confirmation someone else has been praying for. And if this message moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Like it, share it, and subscribe to the Spiritual Universe channel. Because this space is more than a platform. It's a sanctuary for souls awakening together, one frequency at a time. Until we meet again, stay awakened, stay aligned, and keep listening to the whispers that call you home.